four major reasons why Azimio's Mandamano is not successful. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, I'm about to explore four major reasons, four things that Ruto did to subdue this Mandamano that Azimio mentioned that was supposed to take place on Wednesday, today, Thursday, and tomorrow, Friday. So far, there's been minimal really protests. If you look at it, it's just been restricted to Kisumu and some parts of Nairobi and maybe some parts of Vihiga where it wasn't really that much, but it has been subdued nevertheless, okay? But here, before I get to the four major reasons, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe, share, like, and comment, and tell me what you think, all right? I want to hear from you. Let's get started. Number one, this reason I've been telling Azimio folks that Mandamano will never work. I know you're trying to get your way to go about it outside the legal framework. It will never work. The reason, number one, the reason it will never work is because Azimio does not have the majority will of the people. They do not have the majority will of the people. Most Kenyans view this protest as being disruptive to the economy and their everyday, day-to-day work or living pattern, okay? These Mandamanos, they cause unnecessary deaths, they disrupt businesses, properties are damaged, people get killed, people get maimed, people get jailed, people get tear gassed, okay? And the level of crime during Mandamano, the pickpockets, the robberies, okay? These are very disruptive in the society in general, okay? Yes, Azimio they come out and always tell us that they are going to have a peaceful Mandamano. We all know there will be nothing peaceful about it. There'll be run-ins with the police, there'll be shootings, there'll be all that stuff that I've mentioned, okay? And like I said, not everyone is backing Azimio. This is just limited to some parts of the country and some part of Nairobi. Compare that to 2017. I said, the will of the people, the majority will of the people was with Raila Odinga then, okay? 2007, okay? When we almost descended to a civil war, the majority will of the people, most people were behind Raila Odinga. It was obvious that he had won the elections. So things erupted without even Raila telling them, hey, go out and do this. Same thing in 2017. You know, people know Mr. Uhuru tried to impose himself. But they say, no, we cannot go on. They have to come out and protest his illegitimate regime, against his illegitimate regime, okay? That is not the case in 2023. Like I said, I keep on mentioning this. After the handshake, Raila's revolutionary credibility, someone who was seen as fighting the status quo, the corruption, fighting all the oppression, all his credentials were gone because he went and shook hands with the very face of everything that's wrong with Kenya in the person of Uhuru Kenyatta. So people are no longer with him. And that's why he lost these past elections. Okay? That's something that the Azimio diehard supporters cannot grapple with. Azimio lost fair and square. Smoking Wanjala asked, can you show that the paperwork, the forms that were sent in the on the portal and the ones that were filled out at the polling station show us if there's any tampering with the paperwork there, and Azimio could not. Okay? So the number one reason, to keep it short, number one is Azimio lacks the support of the majority of the Kenyan people. Listen carefully to this speech, especially that part when he says, munataka nimkazie. Listen carefully to what Ruto is saying. That part when he says, munataka nimkalie ngumu. Munataka nimkalie ngumu. Take a look.
Anamuuliza mkeka, mara anamuuliza choo, mara anamusema nini. Muda ikapotea, kazi haikufanyika. Akakuja akadanganya Uhuru. Ile Big Four tulikuwa naye ikazama. Akatupeleka BBI mpaka ikaingia kwa madeni. Sasa ndio huyu amefika tena na mpango ya maandamano, kupiganisha watu, kutumia vijana kuharibu mali. Ndio hiyo maafa imetokea. Ati ndio yeye aturudishe nyuma, tusifanye mpango ya ajira ya hawa vijana. Mimi nataka niulize nyinyi watu wa haraka, mnataka tukubaliane na hii mtu? Tuko pamoja? Nimkalie ngumu? Mnasema nimkalie ngumu? Bas, hiyo ni amri. Mnajua sasa nyinyi ndio mmeniajiri. Nimkalie ngumu, awache kuharibu mali. Na awache na vijana wa Kenya kutumia hawa kuharibu mali na kupiganisha watu na kutuletea kisirani. Awachane na mali ya Wakenya. Ndio mumesema? Hebu ni wale wala anasema huyo mtu. Na ndio mimi nataka niwahakikishie. Sawa sawa? Kwa sababu we cannot accept anarchy in the Republic of Kenya. Na ndio mimi nawaambia our handshake brothers. Nyinyi mnapanga.
2. Ruto has always been 2 steps ahead of Raila Odinga. He knows Raila Odinga. Well, now that he has the instruments of power, of course he has all the intelligence. Okay? Eden Duale, I mentioned this again. Eden Duale was sitting at Spice FM and he mentioned that he sits through the briefings, the intelligence briefings that he receives, okay? And he said unequivocally that he has concrete evidence that the Kenyatta family is funding this Mandamano. So what did Ruto do this time? Okay, these are the action that Ruto took. And remember, Ruto, the speech that he gave in Tarakaniti, he mentioned something very interesting. He highlighted how Raila has been always involved in the past regimes, giving headaches to the past regimes. And he answered, he questioned he posed the question to the public and said, munataka nimkalie ngumu. This guy has been causing all this stuff. Munataka nimkalie ngumu this time. And people say yes. So what did he do? He severed the resources that Maandamano people are getting from the Kenyatta. You can ask, how can you prove that Ruto kind of disrupted this link between Raila and Uhuru? I'm talking about financially. It does not need to be financial severance, okay? Just take a look. Think about this. You guys listen to the news. Why did Ruto withdraw Mama Ngina's security and Uhuru Kenyatta's security? What was the point of doing that? I'll wait. Yes, he knows that the Kenyatta family are funding this Mandamano. So that was a clear message to Mama Ngina and Uhuru Kenyatta, telling them, hey, I know you're funding this Mandamano and I'm willing to come for you. So you need to stop it. Okay? Even though the security of Mama Ngina has been restored, but, it's been quiet. It's been quiet so far. The Mandamano has been subdued so far, okay? We are yet to see what happens tomorrow, Friday. But that is a clear indication by Ruto to tell Uhuru But anyway, like I was saying, that was a clear indication to pass a message to the Kenyatta family that, hey, I know what you're doing, and if you want to play that game, then this is what I'll do, okay? Let's go to the next reason. Number 3, Ruto cut the link between Raila Odinga and his foot soldiers. The conduit between these two folks is Babu Owino and Gaucho. Because if you remember, most of the Jacaranda people, if you listen to the person that they usually give a lot of props to, is Babu Owino. Babu Owino is the one who always financed these guys, okay? So what did Ruto do? He severed the link. Went and arrested Babu Owino, detained him, went and arrested and detained Gaucho and several other Mandamano folks. Okay? That way, Raila cannot communicate directly with his foot soldiers for the day-to-day or move-to-move the instructions, okay? So that is why Babu Owino is in jail right now. He's detained. He was just arraigned a few hours ago on the courts, and probably will be released after tomorrow, if I was to guess. Because obviously Ruto wants to see if this Mandamano will be extended or not. That will determine how long Gaucho and Babu Owino shall stay in jail. And one other note about Babu Owino. I know a lot of people are talking about the pro-Azimio folks are talking about Babu Owino being arrested because Babu Owino has so much influence. He's the next kingpin. He's the next presidential election. He's the next big threat to Ruto. Babu Owino is not even a threat to William Ruto. You know why? If Babu Owino wants to run for presidency next time, they can simply open his case. That dude shot somebody on camera where everybody saw when he shot DJ Evolve, okay? So that case can be reopened, okay? And that's enough disqualification for Babu Owino. So he's not a threat to anybody on the UDA side as far as the presidential election is concerned. Another thing too, remember Njenga Maina, the ex-Mungiki head, who Uhuru brought in the fold to join this Azimio coalition? He's been detained too. That is precisely the reason why this guy came to Azimio. He's friends with Raila Odinga. Just picture this. In 2007 and 2017, especially 2007, remember the ICC cases. Maina Njenga was mentioned as the person that was receiving funds from Uhuru Kenyatta to fund Mungiki to kill people in Kisumu and the protesters in Kibera, okay, when Uhuru was in power under Kibaki's regime. And even in 2017, Maina Njenga, as the head of Mungiki, was being used to gun down Luos. So what could be the reason why Maina Njenga would come back to the fold and shake hands and smile and giggle and cheese it up with Raila Odinga? It is for the main purpose of causing chaos, help them with Mandamano. The Mandamano that you saw in Central Province, those were not the local Kikuyu people, Central Province people. Those are the Mungiki that were being financed by Uhuru Kenyatta through Maina Njenga. That's why Maina Njenga, you saw him in the last Jubilee meeting that Uhuru Kenyatta had hosted, which Raila Odinga and fellow Azimios also went to that whatever. Even Gaucho went to that whatever. So these are the folks that have the connection to the foot soldiers. The Mungiki, in the case of Maina Njenga, and in the case of Babu Owino and Gaucho, the people from Bunge la Wananchi, the likes of Nuru Okanga, and the rest of them that are from Jacaranda, okay? These are the foot soldiers for Raila Odinga. And Ruto knows that, so he went and cut off the link by arresting and detaining Maina Njenga, Babu Owino, Gaucho, and several others who actually they're like the lieutenants of these foot soldiers who are on the ground, who are doing this mandamano on the streets, okay? So that's number 3. Ruto severed the source, the link between the foot soldiers and Raila Odinga, all right? Let's go to the 4th reason. The 4th reason is limited limiting Raila Odinga's movement. Is Raila on house arrest? You know, people are saying, ask yourself, why is Raila is not giving a press conference? Why is he not out there? Why is he not moving around, going to Serena Hotel or Capitol Hill, whatever you call it, to give a press conference? He has to send Wandani and Eunice Wamalwa to give a press conference on way forward. Okay? Remember, even anyway, I'll not quote this, but just a quick quote from Miguna a few hours ago. He mentioned something in his tweet, and because remember, Miguna is applying for the DPP position, and he tweeted this as follows: "Please, William Ruto, don't touch or mention conman Raila Odinga. Leave the coward to me. I know how to navigate all his contours." Basically, Miguna is saying, leave Raila to me. I know how to deal with him. I know his tricks. Like I say, Ruto knows his moves. He has all the intelligence about Raila Odinga. He probably knows where Raila Odinga is, but he's limiting his movement. Because if Raila Odinga is out there meeting with his supporters, that will be encouragement for those who are out there. Remember, here's the difference. In 2017, even though the protests were happening, and the reason why Raila was out there protesting and not being touched or nothing was happening to him, and Kenyatta could not do anything to him, is because, like as I mentioned, the people were with him. Okay? And number two, apparently, while all this protest was going on, Raila Odinga was in talks with Uhuru Kenyatta. Okay? But this time, Uhuru is in this side. The people's will is not with them. The people's support is not with him. He only can rely to his Azimio diehards. Okay? But already, Ruto, as you've seen, he has cut off the link between his foot soldiers by arresting Jenga Maina, Babu Owino, Gaucho, and others. And now Ruto is limiting Raila's movement. It's some sort of house, it might not be house arrest, but as you can see, when the news came out yesterday, there was GSU unit, a lot of security people who surrounded Raila's house. So this guy might be in house arrest, and if he's not, his movement is definitely limited, okay? He cannot go wherever he wants, all right? So just to wrap it up, because I know I've been going around saying a lot of stuff, but number one reason why this Mandamano has failed is generally the people's will. The majority of the people are not with Raila, okay? That's number one reason why this Mandamano has failed and will fail. Now, of course, Raila knows that he doesn't have the majority people, so the few people that he has, he's going to mobilize them in different parts of the country to try to cause havoc, to seem that people are actually revolting against the government. Ruto caught wind and knows about that. So what did Ruto do, number two? He severed, he cut off the link between Raila and his resources. Where does he get his resources? The money, okay? I mentioned Kenyatta. Kenyatta is the main money man, okay? The Kenyatta family. I mentioned the intelligence that Aden Duale got, and among others, they mentioned that there's a clear link between the Kenyattas and the Mandamano. The Kenyattas are funding the Mandamano, okay? And that explains why the security of Mamangina and Uhuru Kenyatta was withdrawn yesterday, okay? So number two, as I mentioned, Ruto severed the link between the resources and Raila Odinga. Number three is Ruto severed, cut off, okay, the link between Raila Odinga and his foot soldiers by arresting Maina Jenga, Babu Owino, among others, the people who actually organizes the protesters on the ground. He arrested them. They're detained as of right now, okay? Number 4, last but not least that I mentioned, is Ruto is limiting Raila Odinga's movement. Right? Raila is not moving freely. That's why we don't see him on TV. Why is he not in Capitol Hill? Why is he not at Serena Hotel? Why is he not out there giving speeches in Kibera? He cannot move because Ruto has ordered his security to make sure that Raila Odinga cannot move. So he cannot incite his supporters, his Azimio supporters, diehard supporters, okay? So those are the 4 reasons that we gave why Mandamano has failed. This 3-day Mandamano has failed and probably will fail. Anyway, this is Kenya Revolutionary. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Like, share, tell me what you think. Do you disagree with me or do you agree with me? Do you have a different view? Tell me what you think. I know a lot of people, just to finish with this, please, I don't mean to make this video long, but I hear a lot of Azimio bloggers that saying that, you know, Raila is not showing his face because this is bigger than Raila now. This movement is bigger than Raila. Well, it's not. Because I mentioned, if the majority of the people were supporting these Mandamanos, they will not wait for Raila to mention when to go out and protest. They will be in the streets every day, just as it was in 2017, just as it was in 2007. Nobody waited for Raila to tell them, go out there and protest. So this is where the disconnect is. It is not about Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga is trying to make it about him. Okay? He's just using this finance bill and using this high cost of living as a reason to go out there and protest and to negotiate for power. But it seems like Ruto has him on the chokehold. Anyway, subscribe, share, like, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.